Hi, everybody. Hello. Doing this again, aren't we? Didn't we just do this last week? Episode 81 of the Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast. Welcome in. Thanks for being with us today, as always, on the audio and YouTube side, video side, breaking down the Swing Mechanical Breakdown Series, volume 18 of Free Agent First Baseman Freddie Freeman, who probably is going to go back to the Braves if I was a betting man, or maybe the Yankees. But I'm sticking with the Braves. Once baseball resumes, if it ever does resume, who knows? Hopefully it does. Javi Baez, we broke his swing down last week, and he just signed with the Tigers. And a lot of guys have come off the free agent board, one of them being Marcus Simeon. We break his swing down next week. But today, we're doing Freddie Freeman. I have a question for you, professional evaluator, successful business owner, former coach, friend, co-host Jake Epstein. Before we get started, where were you in 1994? What were you doing?
Trying to figure out my part in life.
I was 4 years old.
94. Yeah, I wasn't 4.
No.
I was 17, 16.
Okay.
I was in high school. So 94, I was a sophomore in high school.
That was the last time that baseball had a labor dispute.
Yeah.
And that was when the players actually striked, apparently, right? Air quotes, striked.
Mm-hmm.
This time the owners have locked the players out. And I think this, people are missing the point of this. I wrote down a couple of notes about this whole thing. This with the new CBA, when it comes, I don't know. I really can't predict that because these things are very intensive. But I think I read the whole CBA when it was first signed in 2016, the newest version. I read it from front to back. It's funny. I went on a date with a girl once, like a couple of years ago. I told her I read the whole CBA from front to back, and she looked at me like what the fuck is wrong with this guy? What is wrong with this guy? This is why online dating doesn't work.
Yeah, you should have said you were in law school.
Well, anyway, I read that, and I noticed some things that the players maybe got gypped a little bit, and I think that things from the major league players that I talked to, just from one organization, of course, they seem to be, guys on rehab anyway, seem to be frustrated with certain things that were in the CBA when it came to money. You know, they got the extra seat, and we've talked about that before, I think on this show, maybe off air, but how they've got those little perks, the extra seat, an extra off day, whatever it was in that last CBA. But it was kind of like, well, we voted for something, and now we're seeing the consequences of those votes. And I think the tension started in 2017 when players realized they weren't being paid as much after they were starting to get into their major league careers after their rookie year. Some were being tendered the league minimum, for God's sakes, to a year or two in. And then, of course, 2018, Manny Machado, Bryce Harper hit the free agent market, and they're very late to sign. I think that's when tensions really peaked with this whole CBA and now this lockout.
Yeah, it's, from someone looking, if you're looking into this and you're seeing that, players these contracts that have been signed are insane. I mean, Scherzer signed an incredible deal. That's why I'm wearing the Missouri shirt tonight for him.
You're doing it for
$43 million a year, right? I mean, that's a lot of money to pitch, right? He's going to pitch how many games? 26 games, maybe 25 games.
Yeah.
So you can do the math on that. He's going to make.
Well, if he pitches, so he's making what, 26 million? You said, or 23 million?
No, he's making 43 million, and maybe he has 28 starts, 26 starts. I don't know. He's going to make $1.7 million, something like that, every start. I mean, this is really incredible money. And the sad part is he's worth that to that organization that paid him. He's totally worth that. And then all of a sudden you see owners that are making money hand over fist as well. So everybody's making a ton of money, yet nobody's happy. And that's a bad situation. Then it's the fans that suffer because, fans just want to watch they want to watch baseball. And there's people that are greedy, and there's so many layers to the CBA.
Yeah.
That they'll work it out because everybody's got to make their money. But it stinks that it gets this far, because then the fans, it automatically goes, oh, the players are selfish. right? Look how much money they're making,
Well, let me stop you there for a second, though. I'm not sure I completely agree with that. I think a lot of fans are actually on the side of the players this time around.
Maybe.
I think that the owners are being looked at as the bad guys this time around.
Yeah.
Well, see, in 94, from everything I've read, it seemed like and you would know better. You were older, but it seemed like the players were the ones at fault. This time, it seems like people are really mad at these owners. And I think I know why. Part of it is because a lot of these teams, if they're not going through it right now, they've been through it in the last few years. They're going through that rebuilding process where teams just aren't spending and they're not putting a good product on the field. And I think a lot of people are obviously mad at Rob. The whole world's mad at Rob Manfred. I mean, my grandmom is mad at Rob Manfred, but nevertheless.
Yeah, and it's it's hard. Like I don't know the right side. I don't know if there's the right side, but everybody's come together and figure this out. But I think of owners of other companies, owners of your local grocery store, what do they have to do to make it work, right? To pay all their employees, health benefits, to do all, there's a lot that goes into it. And some of those small market teams, Cleveland being one of them, that has a very, very small payroll and, traded guys away, maybe that's what they had to do to stay above water, maybe not. Maybe not. I know Colorado is always accused of, we'll just, be middle of the pack because we'll get good fans. We have good TV. We make money at all the restaurants downtown, and the owner's going to make his 40, 50 million a year. And he's not going to spend an extra 30 or 40 million a year, to have a contender, because he's just in the business of making money. And then you have, Steve Cohen in New York that's like, I want to win. I got money. I want to win. I'm going to put a good product on the field, and he's going to do everything he can to do it. So, it's just obviously totally different markets with totally different owners that have different bank accounts.
Well, we're doing Freddie Freeman today, and I'm looking at, for those watching on the YouTube side, I'm looking at my phone right now because I'm researching something in regards to the Braves. I read it over the summer. I'm going to try to find it here. But it was some number that they put out. Okay, hold on. By the way, you're wearing all white tonight, which I like. It goes well with the camera.
Yeah, I was trying to, I wore white earlier when I was giving lessons, and then my hair was not acceptable for the podcast. So then I grabbed the top hat that was white, and it just worked.
Well, I have the, this is according to I found it, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The Braves' financial results are in. This was written by Tim Tucker. I want to give him credit, back on November 4th. So about a month ago. I can't read the whole thing, but it says the third quarter revenue hit 234 million. So to your point, it's a great point you made earlier about how so many teams are making money, owners are making money hand over fist, players are starting to make money hand over fist, and nobody seems to be happy and can agree.
Was that their net revenue or their gross revenue?
It doesn't say. I'm going to guess that it was their gross revenue.
I would think it was their gross revenue too.
Now
it's a lot to.
It says the Braves 2021 revenue had reached 466 million, including 16 million in the first quarter and 216 in the second. Wow. Okay, so that makes sense. Because they didn't have full capacity of fans. Okay, so 16 million. So I'm guessing the 216 million. Let me look at Ballpark Digest now. So apparently the Braves quarter two results, 2021 revenues approached. This is according to Ballpark Digest. 2019 levels. They have a sheet here. Okay, so here it is. The revenue of 2016 million exceeded the reported revenue of 208 million in quarter two of 2019, though the 54 million operating profit was less than the 62 million operating profit recorded in quarter two of 2019.
Yeah,
but that's still a lot of money, though.
Still good. I mean, they're still maybe making a couple $100 million a year, right?
Right. Correct.
So baseball is a good business right now.
Yes, exactly. That's our point here. That's the big headline.
And you just hope that this continues, right? And this labor dispute gets worked out before it gets messy and fans get upset that, they can't go to spring training or they, the season doesn't start on time.
I'm wondering too, if people care, maybe because it's the off season. And it's a shame too that
right.
It's a shame that this had to happen though, because it really was last week leading up to the events of the lockout. It was pretty exciting with players signing where they were. Javi Baez went off the board with the Tigers just in the nick of time. Same thing with Marcus Stroman going to the Cubs and Marcus Simeon, Seager, who were both of those guys will be breaking down their swing later on.
I think that happened because there was a window.
Right.
That window was closing. And I thought that was cool. I thought, hey, maybe we should have a deadline. Like if you're a free agent, you have to sign your contract by December 31st, and then you'd see that at the end. I mean, you can't do that because of the holidays, but maybe you do it December 1st. You got to sign by December 1st or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden you'll have all that action again. And I think it'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You could say you could do something like, you must sign your contract. If you're a free agent, you must sign a contract by December 15th. And between the time from November 1st after the World Series to December 15th, no teams are allowed to trade. The trade picks up December 15th on. Now, see that at that point, though, you'd have to do like a 3-tier type free agent market, right? So the first tier you have to sign by this time. Second tier you can sign by, January, whatever.
Yeah.
And then third tier, obviously, and below.
I'm sure it'll be in the collective bargaining agreement.
We just came up with a whole new collective bargaining agreement for everybody.
We should call somebody.
We should call Rob Manfred. Do you have any thoughts on the reported 2 balls that were being used? That could be a scandal right there in and of itself.
Yeah,
that's not good.
I get it.
Not good.
I get it though. I mean, we've been trying to get baseballs at the facility since the middle of last year.
I'm not against a juice. I'm not against necessarily against a juiced ball per se. I'm against different balls being used though.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the ball was being used, the same ball was being used in the same game. It didn't change throughout the game.
Yeah.
I get that it was. I don't know how different. I haven't looked at the science behind it. Like, how different the ball was. Was the core different? Was the compression different? Did they test all that, or was it just it was made in 2 different factories?
Right.
I don't know. I haven't researched it enough, but yeah, I mean, I get that debacle. Like baseballs were not easy to find last year, and you would think Major League Baseball would kind of have, first dibs on the factories that are putting these things together.
Yeah.
But the ball's just consistently gotten harder throughout the years, and that's why guys had to put stuff on it too. I mean, they were so hard and they were so slick because they're wound so tight that they had to get pine tar or sunscreen and rosin or whatever they were doing just to, get a good grip on it. And then, of course, everything from there, stemmed into, wow, if we do this ball will spin a little bit more or a little bit different. And, then it got a little crazy, but it probably all started because that ball was so hard that the pitchers were like, I can't even grip this thing. It's so slick and tight.
Yeah. What about one more thing about the CBA? What would you think about a salary floor? Not so much a cap, because that's not going to happen, unfortunately.
A salary floor for a salary team
for every team.
So every team's got to spend at least $100 million or whatever.
Correct. That was obviously you read the same report that I did a while back. Yes, they're proposing a salary floor, $100 million. Each team has to spend it. What do you think about that?
I don't know. That's hard. Like maybe it's a percentage of what they normally bring in. So if a team has a net profit of $600 million, then they have to their floor is well, that's not fair either, right? Now they can go buy more players, I guess. But
keep
at least
in mind though,
their floor is $200 million. All the big revenue teams, and then the smaller market teams, maybe their floor is $100 million. You just don't want owners sitting on things, where they're just trying to, squeeze blood out of a turnip. They're just trying to, make money and they're dumping players and they're dumping salaries, but they know they're still getting their TV revenue and they're still getting.
That was the point I was going to bring up. They have
maybe a percentage.
I mentioned the Braves numbers. I think those numbers are based off of jersey sales, off of ballpark sales, and
everything,
concessions.
Food.
I'm not sure though that takes into account TV money.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe it does. I don't know. But
yeah.
So you wouldn't. So would you? I mean, you're not. Are you for against a salary floor? I'm all for it as long as
I would be for it. I would be for it, but I don't think it's fair to have that floor too high for small market teams.
Right. So it's got to be a.
I mean, it can't be 28 million.
But it can't. It can't be maybe 100 million. Maybe that's too much.
Yeah. I mean, maybe for a larger market team, but a larger market team, they're going to go out and get free agents because they can anyway, so they're not going to have to worry about a floor.
Right.
You're not seeing large markets dump players. I don't think at the trade deadline, are we? Did we see any of that at large market teams? I mean,
if they do, it's a quick reset, and then it's back to
Yeah, it's Cincinnati, right? It's Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Boy, Seattle sure made a lot of moves this offseason already.
Seattle made some moves. They did. They did. Are we doing somebody from there or no? No, maybe not.
What's that?
I thought we were going to do a free agent from there. Maybe not.
Yeah, Kyle Seager, right?
Kyle Seager. No, we're doing Corey Seager. But that's like well down the line.
Yeah.
There may not be baseball then. They'll get this done. They'll get it done by like February. Here's my prediction. They get it done 2:30 a.m. February 14th, 2022. Yeah, that's my prediction. They're gonna just play this out December, January, and
they're gonna take some time off, right? It's nice, holiday time.
Yeah,
time with the family.
It's nice. While everybody sits around on their hands and waits for something to happen.
Waits for baseball, yeah.
John Heyman posted on Twitter. He's a writer. For those who don't know, he's on MLB Network, et cetera, et cetera. And he posted on Twitter who he voted for the Hall of Fame. And he happened to vote for Barry Bonds, not Roger Clemens. But he voted for Barry Bonds. I would have voted for Barry Bonds, still would. And I would also vote for Roger Clemens. I think that the whole steroid era type thing has to, and same thing with Pete Rose, by the way. We talked about that on Pete Rose Mechanical Breakdown series. He should be in the Hall of Fame. And I think those two and other guys should also be in the Hall from that era, should also be in the Hall of Fame as well. You can make a steroid wing or a steroid era type wing in the Hall of Fame, but those guys, Bonds, Clemens, they should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. I think it's well overdue at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't play against him, I didn't play against him. I think that's some of the hard part. I don't know. If you play against him and that guys are cheating and they make you look bad, like you're a pitcher, and Barry goes off on you when he's 40 years old, I don't know how that makes different people feel. I will say he was an amazing player, and he was an amazing player when he was 190 pounds or 180 pounds. He was a great player. Clemens was an absolute beast, and he was a Cy Young winner when he was young. Like, he was dominant when he was with the Red Sox, before all the other stuff came out. So,
and we're not saying that they did anything, by the way. It's alleged that they did. I don't think Roger. I honestly don't believe Roger Clemens did anything. I truly don't, deep down. I really don't. And Bonds, make your own assertions. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but he was a great
Clemens thing was but he tested positive, right? Or was he just in a report and he said his wife was using it or something?
It was a report. He never tested.
It was a report. It wasn't a test. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't look into it all.
And his body type too. You look at his body type, and it's not the type of performance enhancing drug body type. Bonds, on the other hand, again, you people
did you see any of the McGuire? I watched 61 the other night with my kid.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal did a good job with that movie, but they showed a lot of actual clips of Maris's kids when they went to see, McGuire break their dad's record and all that. I mean, I forgot how ginormous Mark McGuire was.
Oh yeah.
Like,
what was his arm size? I'm gonna look that up.
I don't know how they got a jersey. I don't know. Man, I mean, just his forearms. He must have had like 30-inch forearms. He was so big. Yeah, I mean, that's a different body, right? When you look at that. when you look at that body, and Bonds obviously got really big, and now you see Bonds now, and he's 175 pounds. He looks great, and I don't know. Everything is what is. All I know is, they were great players, better than most everyone else in the league. They were, good teammates. They were hard workers. Like, they would give everything they had, and nothing was proven. Nothing was cut and dry. This actually happened. And I think that's what makes it tough, is that there's so much silly speculation in there. I think if anything, the steroids, they don't make you throw strikes. Right. They don't make you find barrels. They don't make you hit home runs. They make you feel better. They make you age less as you get older. Mm-hmm. You're still putting up really good weight when you should be declining, and your muscle mass, goes down usually, age 35 or something like that.
Not
that
for
obviously
me.
Not for you. Well, you're not there yet.
I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I'm not really all that.
That's what it does. It allowed it, and I'm not saying they did it, but people that did it, it allowed them to compete for longer, right? I mean, Hank Aaron hit 755 home runs because he played for a really long time. Pete Rose had hits because he played till he was 50 years old, or whatever. Like, he played for a really long time. Like, you're going to get numbers when you play for a long time. So when your body is in shape, and it's like Tom Brady, is still competing right now, then you can compete and put up numbers for a longer time. But it doesn't make your vision better. It doesn't make you react to pitches. It may make you get to pitches a little bit quicker than you would when you're 30, 36 or 37 years old, but it's not going to help you hit a baseball.
Tampa Brady here in Tampa Bay. Be here for another 3 years, I'm predicting. Another prediction. Mark McGwire, by the way, 17-inch forearms, 19-inch biceps. It's nothing. I got that.
Is that like just half of his bicep?
No, that's his whole bicep.
Okay. Was that when he came up?
That was in 1998 or something.
Okay, no, not when he came up.
No, when he came up. Although he was pretty big when he came up. He was pretty muscular.
It's a different look. Feel like it's a different person.
Well, so is Bonds. Right? I mean, come on.
Maybe they just hit the gym though. I mean, they just
pumping iron. Pumping all that iron, huh?
Protein shakes.
Yeah, that's right.
Amino acids.
That's right. Tom Brady, by the way, speaking of which, he's proving that you don't need to take performance enhancing drugs to play into your 40s, into your 40s.
Or do you?
I don't know. No way.
I mean,
you ever read his diet?
Yes. I'd be in a bad mood every day if I ate what he ate.
There's no way. All right. Really quick before we get to our Freeman swing breakdown, we have a listener question. You want to do a listener question?
Sure.
All right. I'm glad you said sure, because that was a rhetorical question. Okay. This comes to us from Tom. He's following up from a question that he gave us a couple of weeks ago. He says, "Hi, Jim. Finally got around to watching episodes again. Had a few week outage where I stepped away from baseball content. Thanks for answering my question on off-season training for little leaguers. Episode 79 was good, not just because you answered my question, LOL. JJ's question in regards to teaching human movement was a good topic you two dove into. I'll tell you what about JJ. He is like our go-to listener interactor.
He's got good topics.
Questionnaire.
And good content. Yeah.
He's our Pat from Moonaki to our Opie and Anthony. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, look it up some other time if you're really all that curious. As a parent / coach, this is again from Tom, to an 8-year-old, you see these YouTube instructional videos, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, no way I can get these kids to do most of these defensive drills. My own kid forgets his right foot from his left still. This kid, what? 8, right? 8 years old. Yeah. Thought he was 9 in that last email. I guess he's 8. Anyway, thanks for reading my question on the podcast. And he goes on to say, we live in Fairfax County in Oak Hill, which is in the middle of Reston, Herndon, Chantilly.
Nice. I like that area. It's pretty country.
That's again from Tom from Northern Virginia. Tom, great question. Thank you very much for writing in to the podcast.
What was the question, Jim? How to get your kid to do those things on YouTube?
You weren't listening, were you?
Tom, I'll be honest. I don't know how they do it either. I watch some of these defensive things and I'm like, this is really impressive stuff. These are some really dedicated kids.
Yeah, so he's basically saying no way. I guess this is his question, but he worded it in a statement. He said, no way I can get these kids to do most of the defensive drills. My own kid forgets his right foot from his left still. So
yeah, I'll tell you what it takes. Yeah, it takes time. Yeah. It takes a lot of time and a lot of repetition. And probably what you're not seeing is, are the steps taken to get to that boom, 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 that left, right, left, go play or whatever they're working on with defense. I'm sure it's, they're working just one step at a time. Okay, let's add the other foot. Okay, then we go boom, boom, left, right, then go left, right. Then we're going to go left, right, left, they're probably break it down. And those kids have been doing it for, 4 months and they look that good on Twitter. Everything looks good on Twitter, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you post some of the clips on Twitter, I look really good. And I'm like,
always. It's not sometimes. It's
Twitter
always.
has a great filter.
Yeah.
So yeah, no,
you know what somebody told me once? You know what a guy told me? You know what somebody told me once? He said, if a girl has to use filters all the time on her pictures and videos, et cetera, you just do you, bro. We don't use filters on this show.
No, we obviously don't have any filters. Mm-hmm. But no, Tom, when I look at those videos too, and I'm coaching, 11-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and I'm like, yeah, we're not looking like that either. But you just do one step at a time. You just kind of keep getting better every single day. And what would probably help is if you weren't teaching your own kid.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. Like I try to teach my kid defense, No, there's no listening. I barely get her to listen to me when I talk about hitting, and that's what I do. But then when she says it's not Epstein defense, it's Epstein hitting. So then I have to say, okay, well, have this person tell you how to do your footwork and get your butt in the right spot and you get your hands out in front, and then she'll listen. So that could be it too, Tom. Have somebody else.
Does she really say that to you? Which one says it?
Yes. Yeah, Vivian. She's a smart little 11-year-old.
Yeah. So she actually came back at you. She came back at you once and said, it's Epstein hitting, not Epstein fielding.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I still know, like I coached college baseball.
Oh my God.
I had to be able to teach people how to field too.
I only played pro ball.
Yeah.
We
were talking about the backhand crossover, right? Yeah. The backhand, you cross over.
Right.
You were an outfielder, but I don't know the right way to this, because when I was in the minor leagues, our fielding coordinator didn't want you on a backhand to cross over your throwing leg, your right leg. So for you being left-handed, if you were doing a backhand,
right?
Okay, although is that weird? But if you were doing a backhand, you would keep your right. You wouldn't take your right foot in front of your left foot.
Well, you would. Okay.
So you would field it, but you wouldn't cross all the way over.
No, you would bend that. If I'm left-handed, I'm playing first base. You would bend the right knee. You don't cross over.
You bet right.
You see, I think Javi Baez does that right now currently.
Yeah, and I don't know the right way, because in college, nobody was ever taught anything when I played, so I just took my leg and I always crossed over to do a backhand. And then when I was playing third base in pro, like I got hurt, so I had to play third base. That was fun. And we were doing, and the infield coordinator was like, no, you want to do this. I was like, wow, that's a lot easier. I didn't know. So I still, to this day, I don't know if I'm right. I'll have to look at Trombley or no, is it Trombley? What's the infield guy? Trotsky.
I think it would be. I don't know. So I'm gonna surmise here. I'm gonna play Jimmy Know-It-All for a second. I think it would be based off of a guy's range, how good or bad their range is.
And I had none, so maybe that's why he told me that.
And how good or bad their footwork is too.
Yeah.
Or their arm strength. Because I feel like you get rid of the baseball quicker if you don't do the cross step from deep short in the hole, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
know, but I don't know.
Hitting podcast, but now you know what I deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the Epstein hitting podcast, not
so
the
all
Epstein
you
fielding
know
podcast.
That it's not just you.
Right.
It's not just you. They don't listen to.
I hope I don't have a daughter someday now. I don't, although
your son will be, he'll just be a little prick.
I know he will. Yeah, I know. I know.
Whatever, Dad.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah, nothing. You're right. You know what?
You're gonna be like,
you're right. I didn't do anything. Just do it. Do what the fuck you want. I don't care. Just do it. Just play. Play hockey. I know. Play hockey. I don't know anything about hockey. I just watch as a fan. Occasionally,
I hear you.
Just watch. Just play hockey. And try to do what they do, and don't play baseball.
That
should be the answer to Tom's. That should be the answer to Tom's question. By the way, just encourage your kid to do something else. Don't play baseball.
Okay, son. If you don't want to listen to me with your footwork, why don't you go play lacrosse or something?
Yeah, that's something I know nothing. There was a coach a couple of years ago at the professional level I was talking to, and his son was very young at the time. I think it's like 7 or 8 years old. And he would, in the summer after he was done school, his family lived in Michigan, but they came to Florida to see their dad, of course, during the summer, like a summer vacation type deal. And the 7-year-old, his name was Liam. Liam always had a soccer ball in the clubhouse, like all the time. He was always kicking that soccer ball. And I remember talking to his dad about it. And his dad said to me, I have no idea how to help him with that. So he's on his own. So there you go.
Just let him go.
Yeah. Just whatever, man.
It's a good idea.
Do what you want. All right. Freddie Freeman, episode 81. Be sure to like, subscribe. Thank you, Tom, for the question. JimboPodcast21gmail.com for all of your questions. Reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram at Jim Tara, at Epstein Hitting. And of course, subscribe to the show, the Lab Epstein Hitting podcast on YouTube, Apple, Google, Spotify. Let's get to Freddie Freeman, Mechanical Breakdown Series, volume 18. I'm pulling up his swing right now. A couple of numbers I want to throw out at you here. MVP, 5-time All-Star. Last season hit 300 on the nose, 31 home runs, 83 RBIs, OPS of 896. How is he not the MVP again? I'm not taking anything away from Bryce. Certainly not. He had a great year. Great year. But Freeman, I just read the numbers. By the way, 120 runs, most in the league. 695 plate appearances, most in the league. Those two correlate and connect together. And if you don't know how, I'm too tired to explain it.
So that's a lot of plate appearances. He only had 83 RBIs, though.
Oh, you got me there. Yes.
Yeah, that's I was like, did he get hurt? Did he miss time? Maybe that's why he only had 83 RBIs. Seems like
let me look at, hold on.
A little bit less. Was the slugging percentage down?
Hold on.
Maybe he scored more runs. Maybe he was in front of everyone.
So, all right. 159 games, 600 at bats, 393 on base percentage, slugging 503.
So not a huge slugging percentage.
Finished 9th in the MVP voting.
But not a huge, but his on base percentage is killer. 395. Pretty good.
Pretty I know. Good. I'm saying.
Okay, so we're gonna break down Freddie. And this.
Oh, wait, before you do that, I just want to throw out 3 more. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
hit the record button.
You did.
And then I had to stop it.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I want to throw out before you do the swing breakdown. I want to throw out really interesting numbers. You'll like this though. This will correlate to what you're about to do. So.
I'm sure.
They don't call me Jimmy Podcast for nothing. His pull percentage last year, 27%. He's left-handed batter for those who don't know. And if you don't know, you probably shouldn't be listening to the show anyway. Center field. He hit it to center field, 54%. Opposite field, 18%. But the thing that I circle, hit it up the middle, back up the box, 54% of the time last year in 2021. What does that tell you about his swing?
Well, Yeah, I mean, his swing, we'll see. He's kind of set up for center field. You know, it doesn't have a lot of wrist in his swing. Like, he doesn't flip a lot. He has good extension. He does have a little bit of a barrel drop, and sometimes when you do that, you'll finish a little bit higher and swing up, which means, you know, when he pulls balls, he might pull them on the ground a little bit too much, you know, and so he fights that. You know, the only problem with going back through the middle nowadays is the damn second baseman or shortstop seems to be playing there, you know, so he's an up the middle in the air guy, which you have to be now to be successful. Because if you hit a line drive up the middle, it's an out now most of the time. Like, I'm pretty sure the shortstop is probably playing almost right behind second base, you know, up the middle when he's playing. So it'd be interesting to see that spray chart in terms of how high he hits the ball. So, like, I'd love to see what his average launch angle is to left, his average launch angle to center, and his average launch angle to the pull side. That would be really cool information to kind of go along what we're going to go through here. And you can chime in, Jim. I'm going to continue the analysis here, but if we look at this swing with Freddie, this is obviously from last year or 2 years ago, so I apologize for that. I didn't have any current one I could find. You could tell by the very quiet cardboard people in the background, so that's how we know this is 2020. And this is cool because it's a high pitch, and typically left-handed hitters have a hard time with high pitches. Okay, so I'm going to bring him. I mean, by high pitch, it's pretty high. You know, I mean, it's not dropping very much. So if I put our pitch plane on there, that ball, yeah, probably dropping 3 degrees. I mean, that's a high spin rate fastball up there, only dropping 3 degrees, crossing him. And you can see, you know, back in here, if he was late, he would have missed it, right? So he would have swung under that. If he gets to here, he probably fouls it straight back. And he hits it pretty much in the perfect spot, obviously, on the way up. So you can see now his barrel's here. And then you can see a frame after contact, his barrel's here. So, you know, this swing, Freddie's an interesting case because I see this a lot with him where his barrel, like, he's not on plane. And typically if I would see a swing plane like this, where the barrel drops underneath the pitch plane, you know, it kind of goes like this, right? And starts working up kind of all the way through this way. You know, that's his swing plane. Okay, that's his barrel plane. Okay, actually his barrel was down here even lower, kind of went like this and then like that. Okay, but when I see that, that's a guy that hits 250 or 260. So he doesn't always do this, is the interesting part. He's in such control of his swing that you'll see him actually change it. And I saw it during the World Series this year when he was struggling early in the series, or maybe it was the NLCS, I don't know, when he was struggling. And then all of a sudden he was like, because he was fouling everything off. And that's how you'll know when Freeman is off, because he's hitting the ball too deep and he's under it and he's fouling it straight back. And so all of a sudden that happened for, I don't know, 10, 12 at bats. And then he made an adjustment to try to keep his barrel up longer. And to me, that's either really good coaching, you know, if you know, the hitting coach staff, and they have like a veteran, they had a veteran staff. Why can't I think of his name? Their hitting coach. They play with the Royals.
I'm on it.
What's his name? Anyway, yeah, but they were very experienced guys. So whatever, he made that adjustment. It's really cool. But on this pitch right here, Freddie had a very small window to hit this ball. His window was about that big.
Kevin Seitzer, by the way, was the hitting coach.
Seitzer, yes, Seitzer, Kevin Seitzer. Been around a long time. Okay. And so you can see, like, that was the only window. Again, this pitch cruising in at whatever we looked at here, 3 degrees. Okay. And he hits it. I guess that window would have been a little bit bigger than that. He probably hit it right in there. And if your timing is good, you're going to be good. If I'm not mistaken, Freeman had LASIK years ago.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
I think it really changed his career. Like, he became, like, his vision drastically improved when he had it. And for me, if you have really good vision and you have really good timing and you have a really quick bat, then you don't have to be on plane as long, okay? Because your timing trumps that. Timing trumps swing plane issues. Timing trumps everything. If you have great timing, if you have the ability to hit the ball in a small window all the time, like I'm always going to let the ball get, right here on a pitch that's middle in. I'm always going to let a ball, hit a ball, whatever here when it's down the middle, and then I'm always going to hit the ball back here when it's outside. Like if you have the ability to do that when guys are throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour and then they're throwing breaking stuff, then you have elite vision and eye hand coordination skills. So he obviously has that. Now let's break down a couple other things. What does he do really good? Watch how close the bat gets to his head and shoulder when he rotates. Okay, so right here, I mean, that's about as short to the ball as you can get. You can see this angle right here between his lead form and the bat. I was working on that with one of my high school guys tonight. That angle, sub 90 degrees. I can put a number on it so we can see it. But I mean, that would be the, opposite of casting, 82 degrees right there. So that in golf would be, he's hinging his wrist coming down. Okay. And then he's going to get the knob out in front. You can really see him pull the knob out in front and then release the barrel and then extend through with his top hand. You can see how high his power V is here. So when you see guys that have a high power V, okay, so when this left arm is above horizontal, that typically means their barrel was low at some point and they had to get it back up, okay? So you'll see certain guys with, typically left-handers have higher power Vs. Seager does not. Seager's a lower power V guy, okay? He's a very wide guy. He's very upright and he has a much flatter swing than somebody like Freeman when you look at it, okay? I mean, you can see how straight up Freeman is. And typically the more straight up you are, the higher you have to extend to get to different pitches, okay? But let's take a look at his front foot because this is kind of interesting what he does. And he's, a right-handed thrower too, right? So sometimes you see more goofy things, but when he plants at, his front heel plants, if you stop him at heel plant, his front foot is totally closed. Totally closed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably, I don't know, a handful of guys in Major League Baseball that do that. Okay, Barry Bonds used to do it. That's why he would spin on his toe. So now let's play this through. Watch his front foot. I'm going to get rid of the box so it's not cluttering. Now watch what happens is his front knee starts to open. This puts a lot of stress on the knee, by the way, as Tiger Woods. Okay, like when the front foot is closed and the knee opens like this is, that's injury prone. But what you're going to see is watch his foot. Look how long it takes his foot to open. And then when it does, it just flies open. It almost comes off the ground. Okay, and then he spins on it. So, would you teach somebody to have a closed front foot? Having a closed front foot's probably better than stepping in the bucket. Okay. If having a closed front foot helps your front shoulder stay down, then that would be okay. But for the most part, when I have players that do this, they're always right-handed throwing left-handed hitters. Just the way it is. Like I've never had a lefty thrower do it, and I've never had a righty thrower, righty hitter do it. Because when we play catch, we don't step like that, do we? We would never step like that if we were going to go play catch with our dad or our buddy. And so he doesn't play catch left-handed, right? He plays catch right-handed. I'm sorry, he doesn't play catch left-handed. He plays catch right-handed. I don't know if I said that or not, but and so he probably does this to stay on pitches. One of the other things that's really cool about Freeman is if you watch his there's a video on probably Twitter, okay, but it's like an MLB video behind the scenes of how he works on the tee, and he just tries to shoot balls the other way off the tee. He tries to he says I try to hit it low and I try to hit it the opposite way. Okay, what did he do here? He pulled it and he hit it really high for a home run. So just because he's working on things, maybe he has a tendency of swinging up too much or finishing too high. So when he's off the tee, he's got to really think about sliding the ball down and hitting the ball low to the opposite field. So to each their own. Know what your swing is like, know what makes you good, and do that and stick with that. And don't worry what other people tell you. If other people tell you, if you're like, you know what, that doesn't match up. I pull the ball just fine. Like I don't need to sit there and pull balls off the tee or pull balls off front toss. Like I get in games and I clear my hip. What I not really good at is going the other way, and that's what you need to work on. So what can we learn from Freddie Freeman? one, have good vision. Two, make sure that, that bat gets close to your shoulder when you rotate. Okay. You can see his front arms kind of straightening out a little bit too. That's fine as long as that bat stays cocked and near your shoulder and you don't cast with it. Okay. As long as that bat stays there and not there. Okay. You're fine. And then, what could Freddie Freeman do better on this pitch? It would be to not let the hands really go down. Okay. So if you watch him from launch position, I'm just going to mark the knob of his bat here. And the knob always has to go down a little bit, but he goes from there. And then that knob comes down here. And then it pulls forward. This is really good. And then it starts to go up. And the more you pull the knob up, the more the barrel drops. And the more the barrel drops, the more you have to finish up high with your extension. So if he could have taken the knob in a little bit shallower path, maybe to here, and maybe skipped that, that one circle that was really low, if he could have had a hand path that was just a little shallower, then his barrel would have been on plane a little bit more. Not that it mattered on this pitch, but maybe the next at bat, he got that same pitch and he fouled it straight back, because his barrel was a little underneath. So that's what it is. It's all about maximizing your pitches that you get. What did you say? He had 600 at bats. So how many pitches did he average per at bat? 4 pitches. So he saw 2,400 pitches. In 2,400 pitches, how many cookies did he get in 2,400 pitches? 10%? 5%? 10% would be 240, 5% would be 120. So out of his pitch, he got at least 120 to 240, at least 120 to 240 cookies. Of his cookies, all he had to do was hit like 50% of his cookies for home runs, and he would be like a Hall of Famer. He might be a Hall of Famer anyway, okay? But it tells you how many opportunities you really do have. You don't realize it. You think, oh, pitchers are really good. But if you go back in your season and you watch the pitches you have and you watch the pitches that you foul off, and maybe you weren't looking for a fastball, right? And you got one and you were a little bit late. But if you capitalize on your pitch throughout the season, you're going to hit 60 home runs a year like, somebody's going to do again. It's just kind of the way it is. You just have to have that swing path that runs into that pitch that you really hit well. And if you're somewhat on time to that cookie and you jump on it, you're going to be really, really successful.
So to answer your question,
that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say about that.
All right, Stone Cold. The Freddie Freeman pitches per plate appearance in 2021, 3.87. It's down from 2020. I'm not going to count that. 2019, which was 3.97. Not down by too much, but let's see here. Hold on. He saw 2,688 pitches last year.
Say that again.
So we saw 2,688 total pitches out of his. Hold on here. Boy, I really came prepared for tonight's show, didn't I?
So was that six? Yeah. What did I say? 2,400 and 600 at bats. So was that 600 plate appearance? That was 600 at bats, not plate appearance. He must have had a couple.
Well, okay, so he had 600. Right. So he had 695 plate appearances.
There you go. Right.
So he saw 2,688 pitches. Again, 2,688. So over 2,600 pitches.
Yeah.
2,688.
Does it tell you how many strikes there were?
He saw 3.87 per appearance. It does not.
No, but how many strikes out of the 2,600?
Okay, hold on. Uh-oh. That's going to be a tough one.
Don't worry, we could edit all this out.
I don't think we can.
I'm going to teach you how to do balloon animals. Okay?
Oh, geez.
It's not important. I don't know if that stat even exists.
It might not exist. No.
Yeah.
No. But do you want to guess where this is according to Fangraphs? Do you want to guess Fangraphs? Do you want to guess where his hot zones are?
Yeah, I would say low and middle.
What part of low?
Like knee to thigh.
Well, no. I meant, sorry. I meant what quadrant. So I should ask what quadrants of the zone, of the 4 quadrant, not counting down the middle. What 4 quadrants of the 4 quadrants, which are his hot zones?
Probably the down and in.
Down away.
Down and away.
Up and in. Up and in.
Up and in's a good one. Wow.
Yeah. That was
what
last
do pitchers
year,
try to now we figured out why Freddie's so good. Because what do pitchers try to throw? Up and in and low and away.
Right.
Boom, right into Freddie's breadbasket. That's interesting, up and in, because I think he cheats. That's what we just saw, that one pitch. And up and in is always a fastball, right? Up and in's always the same speed. Right. Low and away fits his barrel drop a little bit, for sure. Like that kind of makes sense. That's why I was like down middle. But down and in, I thought he'd be able to drop the bat head more. That's interesting.
So what do you think? This is according to pitcherlist.com. Looking up some new stuff here. What do you think they named his strengths? What do you think some of his strengths are? Just as I guess as a hitter. Yeah.
For me, it's like fouling off tough pitches.
Okay. Rarely strikes out. Yep.
Yeah. Like he fouls off a lot of pitches. Some of them are hittable and some of them are tough.
Solid contact rate, right?
Yeah, high contact. I feel like he uses the opposite field well. Like he uses left center well.
He does, but that's not on here. I agree with you though.
Yeah.
And
he's a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
I mean, he's a great human. He really is a great human being. Like,
were you looking for swinging strike percentage or strike percentage?
Strike percentage.
His strike percentage last year, I found it. I don't know how right this is though, because the on base percentage, it says here on this pitcher list, it said it was 380. That was not his on base percentage last year. I mentioned it earlier in the show.
No, it was 395, wasn't it?
Right. But the strike percentage, this according to pitcher list, I could look at it on Baseball Savant, but
yeah,
we don't have time. Take this for a grain of salt, people, but strike percentage 15.6%, swinging strike percentage last year 10.7%. So I guess you take those numbers and you apply them to total number of pitches and the pitches per plate appearance.
Yeah. So I multiplied, what was it, 15.6%?
That was
I multiplied that by strike percentage by 2,600. That was 405. So we got 405. That doesn't make sense. 405 strikes.
Well, hold on. So
I took 15% of like 2,600.
We're mathematicians here.
I mean, our strength.
I'm not doing much better. Hold on.
I mean, the math is right. Pretty sure the math is right. I don't know if that number you said a grain of salt. I believe that. I don't think there'd be very many pitchers in the league if you only got 15% strike.
Well, let me ask you a question about his swing here.
Walks last year.
Let me try to salvage our reputations and ask you about something here in his swing. How does he generate the maximum amount of torque with the front foot being closed as it is?
He doesn't. He does not have a ton of torque.
How much? What do you think his torque percentage is?
It was probably 30 degrees.
So how does he generate the power? That's what I'm curious about.
A lot of it comes from the whip. When he sets that bat, remember that 82 degrees back there? That has a lot to do with it. He rotates fast, like his muscles move fast. How did Hank Aaron do it? They said he had fast wrists.
Yeah.
All the old school stuff, big forearms, big hands, all the old school stuff that like doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
It all has to be science. It does make sense to people that played. Like when they talk about having strong forearms and wrists, like that saves you. That does accelerate the bat at the last second. It's not just about separation, or pushing up from the ground. sometimes it's not. I mean, you see a lot of ugly swings that hit the ball really hard and far. So I'm amazed. I had players in yesterday that I worked with, and they were both 165 pounds. And one kid hit the ball 90, he maxed out at 94 miles an hour. Like, that's really good for somebody that size.
Mm-hmm.
And the other kid was at like 86.
Yeah.
Both fairly athletic kids, same exact weight, both good mechanics. I've worked with them since they were, 13 years old, right?
Sure.
And they're like 16 now.
Yeah.
Meaning I taught them the same way. Their mechanics are very, very, very similar. Why is one kid more explosive than the other?
Genetics.
He does something. Maybe it's genetics, it's explosiveness. Maybe. Does he create more torque? I don't know, not from the naked eye. So, we talked about Correa, doesn't have a ton of torque either. We'll get to him as well.
Yeah.
And then some guys do have a ton of torque. Who did we look at last week? Baez has a ton of torque. Is that what gives him power, or is it something else? So, yeah, I don't think there's like a true, there's guys that have 40 degrees of torque, and there's guys that have 26 degrees of separation. And it's like, they're both big leaguers.
Right.
And I have kids in that same room. This kid's really good and this kid's bad, and he's got better torque. So torque is an athletic movement. Now, you have to have it.
Mm-hmm. And he has it, just to be clear. Freeman does have it.
Absolutely, yeah. He has it, but he doesn't sell out. And therefore, he has less risk with his lower half. Because his front side is kind of closed at heel plant, he can keep his hands back a little bit longer, on an off-speed pitch and foul it off.
Yeah.
Where maybe somebody we looked at Baez last week, Baez doesn't have that, because when his front foot lands, man, he's got so much torque and separation that his front side is going. And he's not going to be able to keep his hands back as long as somebody like Freeman. But Freeman's a lot bigger human being, right? So maybe he doesn't have to have as many moving parts and build as much momentum as somebody like Baez.
So I have to ask you, though, would you teach a Freddie Freeman type swing?
Yes, it's just his way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the best way to say it. Like, his hips lead the hands, his front shoulders down. He has no bat drag. There's no casting. The bat goes right next to his shoulder. He gets the knob out in front, and he has a good extension. And his back shin comes down. He doesn't squish the bug or collapse his backside. Like, he's doing everything. He does it with a closed front foot.
Right.
And a closed front hip.
Yeah.
And then that part of the swing kicks in a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say, look, I want you to have your front foot closed like this and your front knee closed at heel plant. There's no way I would teach that, because it's hard on the body and it's not a natural move. But I've had probably 10 or 15 players since I've been teaching. It's not common at all that do that drop their front heel. They're usually shortstops. They're like middle infielder, left-handed hitter, right-handed throwers. And they do the same thing, and their hips just aren't natural. And I've tried to, we got to open up that front knee. We got to open up that front foot.
Right.
And it's so hard for them. And then when they do it, they pull off. And so we just scrap it. And it's like, okay, buddy, you are what you are. You need to get bigger and stronger as much as you can, but you're going to be a line drive gap hitter. Where Freddie still creates a lot of power with it, because he's a big guy. Like, what is he, 6'4"? Like,
right around that.
He's got
There's
a
certain Hall of Fame shortstop too that hit with a front foot closed.
Jeter, I don't know.
Oh, very good.
Did Jeter have it?
It was very good. Yes.
That's because the only reason I said that is because he used to spin on his heel. Remember?
Yeah.
His front heel would spin. So usually when you see guys spin on the heel violently, it's because their front foot was closed for a long time.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds, same way. Like, same thing, and then it comes flying over. So people are like, oh, you got to spin on your front heel. And it's like, that was just a result of their hips clearing their foot out instead of their foot allowing their hips to come through.
So let me ask you this before we've given people radio gold here tonight again.
We did after radio bronze for a while.
And now video gold too. So people can watch these breakdowns. The Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast YouTube page. 290 career postseason hitter, Freddie Freeman. Let's play Jake GM again. Would you resign him if you're the Braves?
100%.
Actually, let me take that back. You're not the Braves GM. Would you go out and try and sign him?
Yes, 100%.
Good. I'm with you.
Yeah, no, and again, not just because of what he does on the field, he makes people around him better.
Yeah.
Like, he's a glue. He's not going to go into a clubhouse and destroy it. He's going to unite a clubhouse. That's why I would overpay for somebody like him. But I don't know if he's a guy that, I mean, he should, he's going to, I know the Yankees really want him, but that's just that's a big step.
Yeah.
You've been with an organization your whole life, and then you go to the Yankees late in your career.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jason Giambi did that. Oh, he got in trouble a little bit there.
I don't think he was as old as Freeman, though.
Yeah, maybe not. It may have been his first big contract, huh?
But Yankees took our kidneys.
I would.
Red Sox took our heart, and you guys are in here talking about the same good body nonsense, like we're looking at jeans for Fabio or whatever that line was. Moneyball.
Good movie.
I know. All right. I would sign Freddie Freeman too. Next week we are doing by the way, before we get to next week, are you going to be because I'm going to ask that question every week. Are you going to be asking the same or answering the same way every week? Would you sign him? I would.
With all the free agents?
Yeah.
Sure. I got an empty check. I got an open checkbook.
All of them? All of them?
Who do we have?
So next week, well, okay. So we have Marcus Simeon next week. People can see this on the graphic. Marcus Simeon next week. Then the following week is Carlos Correa. No, I'm sorry. Following week is Chris Bryant, third base. That's the fifth position on the field. In case you're keeping score at home. And then Correa is at short. He's
I guess it all depends on money, right? I mean, that has a big thing.
Schwarber is then at Schwarber and then Taylor and then
Castellanos. I mean, you look at what Corey Seager just signed for to age 38 as a shortstop. I don't know. I mean, he's going to be.
Well, we'll get to him though. You don't want to spoil it. We'll get to him in many weeks from now.
Yeah.
But next week is Marcus Simeon.
Yeah.
I always spell his name wrong.
The Rangers sure spent a lot of money on a couple infielders last week.
I hope it works out. It reminds me of like the Padres in 2015 where they went like all in and then had to rip it down because they just underperformed.
Yeah.
It's a nice ballpark. I hope that doesn't happen.
It is. I think they're moving the right way. And their farm system's really like up and coming.
Yeah.
Like, they got some prospects.
They got something
Bobby
there.
Witt Jr. He can play. That guy can play. He's electric.
Who'd you say?
Bobby Witt Jr.
No, he's with the Royals.
Oh, he's with the Royals.
But he can play. You're right.
I'm sorry, his dad was with Bobby Witt Sr. was not a very good shortstop, but he could pitch.
His son's
Is
a
that
lot
who
better.
he's with the Royals?
Yeah.
Never mind on the Rangers. I'm off their farm system. No, they actually do have a good farm system.
Well, let me look it up here. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, they're trending the right way.
I'm gonna look up Texas Rangers prospects here. Hold on. Hope they don't have any middle infield prospects because those chances are gone. This is according to MLB.com. Oh, damn it. Didn't pull up on my phone. Hold on. Stupid phone. Okay, here it is. Jack Leiter, number 1. Decent. Josh Jung, third baseman, number 2.
He was good.
Maybe that's who you're thinking of. Cole Winn, right-handed pitcher, number 3. Justin Foscue, second baseman, number 4. Sam Huff, catcher, first baseman, number 5.
Yeah, no, I just read something on, I don't know what it was on, but I think their farm system was ranked one of the top farm systems this year.
Yeah.
So they're moving the right way. So it was time for them to spend.
So Marcus Simeon, who was a free agent, will be doing him next week. What do you got coming up at the lab? It's that dreaded time of the show where I ask you what's coming up.
On Tuesday, tomorrow.
Yeah.
I will be at the lab just in time to yell at my favorite students.
Yep.
You know who you are.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll be at the lab, and then we have our college camp at the end of the month, or actually right after the new year. Our college players coming in, baseball and softball. So that'll be exciting to see them too. And then we're gonna probably throw in a couple mini camps, hitting and fielding mini camps over Christmas break for all the kids that want to get better, and most importantly, their parents need them out of the house during Christmas break.
That's right.
So yeah, we'll have some of those too.
Log on to the labbcs.com. I have my my phone here. Really quick, what's the lab's phone number?
Such a jerk.
See what I did there? Get it?
Such a jerk. 4465.
I'm full of the corny jokes tonight.
4465, right?
I don't know.
700.
I don't know.
See, the problem is I have like 5 phone numbers.
It's on the graphic, so people should be watching the show.
There it is, right there.
There it is.
But the best part is you can go to www.thelabbcs.com, and there's the number on there, 979.
Yeah.
And then you just click on it, and it automatically calls.
Let me look it up. Hold on. Okay. Yeah.
I know it's 446. I don't know the middle numbers.
Hold on.
Oh my gosh. They're going to take away my key.
You're the owner. I know. Here's the phone number.
979 something.
For those listening. 979-985-4462.
985.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and also people don't forget that the online Epstein Hitting Academy is pretty good as well.
It's bad.
Say it.
$$. Yeah. That's
all
it.
Right.
I'm telling you, I hear from so many people that listen and watch the podcast that are online members. Mm-hmm. I bet 2/3 of them are like podcast listeners, and are always like, hey, you were talking about this. So it's awesome. Yeah, definitely do that. EpsteinHitting.com. Click on the online academy. It's you and me. You upload videos through the app. It's so easy to do. 5 seconds later, they come to me. I voice over them. I share it right back to you through the app. We can chat through there about different things. I can give you drills through there. So it's really cool, especially this time of year when people are starting to really ramp up. I'd take advantage of that for sure.
So what is it again?
That one's easy. EpsteinHitting.com.
I bet you Cassidy Shomo knows the number to. I bet you Bailey Hemphill knows the number to the Lab BCS.
Nobody knows phone numbers anymore, Jim.
That's true. Yeah, everybody texts and does all that stuff.
No, and they definitely don't. They know how to get there.
EpsteinHitting.com.
Highway 6 to Peach Creek Road.
And if you don't want to do that online, what is it?
EpsteinHitting.com.
All right, Marcus Simeon next week. Talk to you next week.
Ciao.
Have a nice one. Bye-bye. See ya.